Greetings. In this episode, we're going to talk about the obligations and the responsibility of citizens. Now, first off, you need to realize that there's a difference between an obligation and a responsibility. Obligations include those actions that citizens are required to do by law. If you don't do them, you're going to be punished. In contrast, responsibilities include those actions that citizens should take for the common good. Now, there's a couple of different things we have to talk about here for this to make sense. The whole point of responsibilities and obligations are to ensure that society is stable. It's up to the citizens to fulfill those obligations and requirements, and that's what makes our society better. So when we do participate in civic duties, that effect is a positive one. It helps what's called the public good. Now, to understand a little bit more about the public good, we have to go back in time. This is a quote by John Adams, who was our first vice president and our second president of the United States. He said there must be a positive passion for the public good, the public interest, and this public passion must be superior to all private passions. So what he's trying to say is that the public good is something that benefits the whole public overall. It can be an economic good, it can be a service, but you need to realize that it's helping everybody. So things like highways, the military, the education system, these are all things taxpayers pay for, but they're used by everyone. They're for the public good. Not just single individuals benefit from them, everybody does. So let's start talking about civic obligations. These are things you have to do, or else there's punishments that go along with it. The first is obey the law. Citizens and non-citizens alike are both required to obey the law. It doesn't matter if you agree with the law or not, it still needs to be obeyed. If you don't obey those laws, you're going to be prosecuted for your crimes. Non-citizens who don't obey the laws can be deported back to their home nations as well. The next obligation is to pay taxes. The whole point of taxes is to support the government's functions and services. They're what keep the government up and running. They pay salaries for all kinds of different things, like members of the military. State and local taxes pay for firemen, police officers, even teachers. The next civic obligation is to serve on a jury. Citizens who have reached age 18 may be called to serve on a jury. It's not an option, it's an obligation, something that you must do. The idea of a jury is set up in the Sixth Amendment of the Constitution. It promises that all those who require one can be tried by a jury of its peers. The next obligation is the defense of our nation, including the Selective Service. The Selective Service is a system where young men, both citizens and resident aliens, so those who have a green card, through ages 18 to 25, have to register with the U.S. government for military services. This is in case there is a need for a draft. A draft is when we go to war and there's not enough people in the military. They actually have lotteries and recruit people into it. You don't have a choice. You're just brought into the military. The last time we had a draft was during the Vietnam conflict. Part of this whole service to the nation, too, comes with an oath of allegiance. Part of it says, I swear allegiance to support and defend the U.S. Constitution and the laws of the United States against all enemies. Members of the military, elected public officials, as well as naturalized citizens all take this oath, swearing that they're going to defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States. Okay, let's talk about responsibilities instead now. Responsibilities are things that you should do, but you're not going to be punished if you don't do them. The first of those is voting. The whole purpose of democracy is for people to be able to select their public officials, and as a result, it's our responsibility to do this. We need to represent our interest in government, and we can do that by voting. Next up is running for office. If you're willing to be appointed or serve in a public office, that is one of our responsibilities. Next up is attending civic meetings. What we mean by a civic meeting is a lot of different things. This is a way for citizens to actively participate in our government. So whether or not you belong to a political party, or if you go to hear a candidate for a public office, or even if you go to a school board meeting, those are all different civic meetings. Next is the petitioning of the government. It's one of our rights that's spelled out in the First Amendment. We have the right as individuals to come together with others and express, promote, and pursue and defend common interests. That means that we have the right to assemble in public places, and we have the right to join different associations. So a great example of this would be the March on Washington under the direction of Dr. Martin Luther King. So as I said, it's all protected by the First Amendment, and the idea is that we have the right and the responsibility to let our political leaders know if we agree or disagree with them and expose government misconduct. Okay, that's it for now.